Microsoft branded the Xbox X as the definitive place to experience 9th-generation games, and those claims were made on the back of the console's 12 teraflops GPU that is markedly higher than the competition. There's plenty of current-gen games that make good use of that graphical grunt, and we'll be looking at the top 15 graphically stunning games on the console. Ride 5. Ride 4 made big waves with its photorealistic visuals that were mistaken for reality, and developer Milestone has fleshed those ideas out further with Ride 5. This entry introduces new elements like a dynamic weather system into the mix, which combines with the already fantastic-looking bike models, and ray-traced reflections to create a world that's, again, not too different from real life. And the best part is that you can experience all of it without having to compromise for an inferior frame rate, thanks to the raw graphical grunt of the Xbox Series X. Lords of the Fallen 2023. There are plenty of Souls-likes on the market that have successfully provided their unique takes on the From Software formula, but none of them are arguably as good-looking as the recently released Lords of the Fallen. The game puts players in a dark fantasy world that has two variants, namely light and dark, and you can change between these variants on the fly, which reveals new paths and additional secrets. The game was built using Unreal Engine 5, and it makes great use of that technology to create worlds that are visually striking with quality particle effects and impressive texture work. While it does struggle to maintain performance with the visuals, it is easily one of the best games in its class that you should definitely check out. Bright Memory Infinite. Bright Memory Infinite is a snappy experience that only lasts a couple of hours, but those hours are filled with a constant influx of high adrenaline moments that would keep you glued to the edge of the screen at all times. Of course, a lot of what makes it so special is also the high-fidelity graphics on offer that continue to please the eyes, with one beautifully rendered frame after another. Dead Island 2. After what seemed like an eternity of development hell, Dead Island 2 was finally released earlier this year, and to many a fan's surprise, the game was actually able to prove its worth as a successor to one of the most revered zombie slashers of all time. While the gameplay does the heavy lifting here, Dead Island 2's attention to detail is what makes it stand out against the crowd. In addition to the high-quality assets on display, Dead Island 2 also renders its post-apocalyptic world with impressive lighting effects and reflections. Layers of Fear 2023. Bloober Team's Layers of Fear is a game that's built using Unreal Engine 5, and it's a strong showcase for the new engine's impressive graphical capabilities. It makes smart use of UE5's technologies, including, but not limited to, the nanite for meshes and lumen for its lighting. The Xbox Series X and S is able to handle it all without breaking a sweat. Sure, there are certain issues with regards to its gameplay or stories, but it's definitely a looker. Control Ultimate Edition. Remedy Entertainment's Control is an interesting candidate for such a list. On the surface level, the game's world is a massive office building that's filled with generic-looking rooms and large open hallways. But once you start looking beneath that veneer of brutalist architecture, you'll find what is easily one of the most well-realized game worlds of recent memory, one that continues to get darker and weirder the more you delve deeper into it. It already looked good on Xbox One, but the Ultimate Edition introduces ray tracing into the mix, which just elevates those visuals to another level. Street Fighter 6. Street Fighter 6 builds upon Street Fighter 5 in some interesting ways with its new gameplay mechanics, but it retains an element of familiarity with respect to its art style. That's not to say there aren't any improvements, far from it. The environments, lighting, and character models have a lot more detail than before, and longtime fans of the series will immediately be able to notice these differences. Starfield. Starfield is Bethesda's first new IP in over 25 years, and it's a testament to the fact that these guys just know how to create fantastical worlds that are brimming with imagination and wonder. There's tons of different planets that players can explore, and each of these planets has different flora and fauna that are specific to their ecosystem. Add to that the massively improved facial models, and Starfield can look genuinely impressive at times. Elden Ring. Elden Ring is supposed to be a grand journey that takes players through dense forests to towering castles and frigid settlements, so it makes sense that the world should be appealing from a visual perspective. Thankfully, Elden Ring is just that, and From Software does a great job of creating all these visually distinct biomes and stitching it all effortlessly to create a coherent world that is the lands between. The Quarry. Supermassive has proven to be one of the best developers in its niche of narrative-based games, and The Quarry is perhaps one of its finest works to date. The story revolves around a group of teenagers trying to survive a night at a summer camp, and the adventure can reach extremely different tangents depending on the choices you make during critical points in the story. But what makes The Quarry so special is the culmination of impressive visual effects and quality performance capture that comes together to create a visual spectacle that looks and feels extremely realistic. Alan Wake 2. Remedy Entertainment is a master of creating weirdly beautiful worlds, and Alan Wake 2 is solid proof of that statement. The twisting town of Bright Falls is rendered with immaculate attention to detail, and Alan Wake 2 really brings out the best of the developer's in-house Northlight engine. Everything from the lighting effects to the character models and the reflections have a ton of detail, and it all comes together to create a world that's unlike any other. While the PC version definitely has an edge over the console counterparts, Alan Wake 2 is easily one of the best-looking games that you can play right now. Forza Motorsport 2023. Forza Motorsport 2023 is by all means a visual showcase of the power of the Xbox Series X and S. The simulation racer not only uses advanced processing power to create a realistic simulation model, but it also makes good use of the console's graphical grunt to render lifelike graphics. Cars look exactly like their real-life counterparts, and the ray-traced reflections do a good job of simulating the bounce lighting and reflections on their shiny coat of paint. The tracks also look extremely pretty, and you can just spend tons of hours racking up lap after lap as you just absorb and admire the beauty of it all. Dead Space. Dead Space is an excellent modernization of the original, and it's also living proof that this horror classic stands the test of time in more ways than one. Set against the backdrop of the USG Ishimura, Dead Space Remake features best-in-class visuals that do a good job of making the player feel uncomfortable and building an ominous atmosphere that just leaves you guessing. Xbox Series X is able to run the game at an upscaled 4K with taxing effects like RTAO without running into performance roadblocks. Gears 5 Hivebusters. Despite being released for last-gen consoles, Gears 5 continues to be one of the best-looking shooters on the Xbox platform. The Coalition is one of the finest developers on the market, and it makes great use of the power of the Unreal Engine to bring its vision to life. Everything from the character models to the environments and enemies look absolutely amazing, and Xbox Series X is able to render it all at high resolutions without compromising on the frame rate. Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. Cyberpunk 2077 was a disaster on last-gen machines, and Phantom Liberty not only irons out several of those issues, but also uses its exclusivity to current-gen consoles to bring out the best of the setting. The new district of Dogtown is dense with details, and the detective story is also presented with much better facial animations and capture performances. The Xbox Series X is able to render it all at surprisingly high resolutions, without compromising on ray tracing, which makes it one of the best games to showcase the sheer power of this console. And that brings us to the end of the video. A quick request: we upload new videos every single day, and if you like what we're doing, please consider subscribing. It really helps us out. Also, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon so that you can receive daily video updates. Thanks for watching.